on our What's Good segment today. You probably have heard of a bucket list, right? All things you want to do before you die. But what about an unbucket list? That's a list of things you don't think you'll get to do before you die. For people living with life-threatening illnesses, this list may be a somber reality. And our Amy Paffrath joins us to share the story of one local woman who's completing her late sister's list. And Amy, this seems like a really sad story, but it's also a really inspiring one too, isn't it?
It sure is. Now, Kristen Brockman is a close friend of mine. She lost her sister to cystic fibrosis at just 26 years old. She was understandably heartbroken, but she found a new way to honor her sister and a few unexpected adventures along the way. Thinking about your own mortality is uncomfortable for most people. It's an unavoidable reality for those living with incurable diseases and their families, like close-knit sisters, Kristen and Kelsi.
There's nothing like a sister, and even though we were 8 years apart, we had the best relationship.
When 26-year-old Kelsi died of cystic fibrosis in 2016, her older sister Kristen not only found her burial wishes.
This is the dress that she wanted to be buried in, and she wanted Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles to be played.
But she also discovered a special list, something her sister called an unbucket list.
I think this was a list of things my sister thought she would never do in her lifetime. But when I found the list, there was one item checked off the list, and that was San Francisco, which made me really happy because San Francisco is a trip that we did together. I always joke that that's the one trip we never fought. I say she was sick, but she was still my sister, and I just remember we had the most perfect trip, and I had no idea that was any kind of bucket list material for her.
Now, Kristen is determined to finish the list for her little sister. She says it's a way of honoring her, but also raising awareness and funds. And she says in doing so, it makes her feel more connected to her sister.
It definitely makes me feel very close to her. And, you know, some of the items on this list are things I would have no interest in doing.
Like touring the Biltmore estate in North Carolina, which was a pleasant surprise.
It was such a magical experience, and I went by myself, and, you know, when I was leaving, there was a rainbow, and I just had such a great day, and I just remember feeling very thankful that she brought me to this place that otherwise I probably never would have gone.
Her sister has led her on other adventures, like celebrating Halloween in New Orleans and hugging a sloth.
Wish I could have brought Kelsi here to do this. She didn't get to be at my wedding. She'll never get to meet my kids. She never got to have kids. And so that's part of the reason why I still fight for people who are living with cystic fibrosis, because I really believe we're going to find the cure. I want someone else who's a sibling to have their sibling for the rest of their lives.
The last thing on the list is the one that scares her most, skydiving. So she's setting a lofty goal, raising $100,000 for the CF Foundation.
I'm not looking forward to it. I think that's probably why I set my goal so high, because I do not want to skydive.
In the meantime, she supports other CF fundraisers, like this one at the Comedy Store. And she does it all because she just wants her sister to be proud.
Even though she was the little sister, it's so important for me to impress her.
She's almost halfway to her goal, so it's only a matter of time before she's falling from the sky and conquering her fear and her sister's unbucket list. And actually, just this Memorial Day weekend, Kristen and her mom took a road trip with Kelsi's dogs, Peach and Honey, to New York City, driving all the way from Kentucky to walk them in Central Park. That was one of the bucket list items. And today, actually, Kelsi would have turned 29. Today was her birthday.
This was a friend of yours, too.
Yeah, well, I know Kristen. She worked with a friend of mine, Steve Holzer.
Yeah.
And she has such a bright spirit, so it's not surprising to me that she would do something like this.
Absolutely.
Oh,
it's a great way for her to feel connected with her sister. They were so close, as you can imagine, as all sisters are.
And so young. Amy, can you give us any statistics on cystic fibrosis? Has there been any real breakthroughs?
Yeah, well, the good news is in the last 50 years, thanks to research like Kristen is raising money for Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, the age expectancy has gone from just elementary age to now mid-40s. So there aren't a lot of huge breakthroughs like we were discussing as far as medications, but treatments have gotten better. So
what a beautiful story, and what a beautiful way to keep her memory alive.
Absolutely.
Thank you, and good luck with
Thank you so much. Yes.
Cutest pregnant woman.